What's good, guys? Jay Lee here. Got another Northwest podcast for you tonight. I don't know what kind of mood I'm in. I don't know what kind of mind state I'm in. It's a little hazy. I didn't really plan on making any videos today, but sometimes it just happens that way and it pops up and something comes on my mind or something pops up somewhere and I got to make a video. Tonight, I actually wanted to make a video on something else. I was thinking about the Delilah spirit, and I probably will eventually make that video. People talk about the Jezebel spirit, and for some reason, these guys, these red pill guys, at least a couple guys that I follow, have been sort of talking about the Bible and Proverbs and the worthless woman and things like that, and I've talked about that. I made a video called The Jezebel Spirit, Porn Culture and the Jezebel Spirit. I made a video on that on my other channel before, it had some issues, so I had to drop that other channel. Now I'm on this different channel and blah, blah, blah. But like I said, I was thinking about making a video on the Delilah spirit, because people talk about Jezebel a lot, and but not many people talk about Delilah, who is similar to Jezebel. Maybe not quite as evil on her magnitude of evil, but pretty similar to Jezebel in the sense that, you follow her ways and you get screwed over. I'm going to make that eventually. But sorry for giving that little, precursor without actually following through, because I don't want to talk about that in this video. In this particular video, I don't know if it's a subscriber, but somebody, actually probably not a subscriber because I don't have that many subscribers on this channel, but somebody said, and it was on, let me see what video it was on. If I can't remember, I probably can't find what video it was on because I didn't take that down because I'm all scatterbrained right now. But I did take a photo on my other phone of this person's comment. Let's see if it says, yeah, the red pill and MGTOW from a spiritual perspective. So I've been doing some videos on the Bible and from a spiritual perspective and things like that. And there's a lot of Christians out there. There's a lot of Christians out there, and I don't know how many of them are red pilled. One could make an argument that the Bible is like 50-50, red pill / blue pill, because, the Bible doesn't give women, the Bible is not a feminist book, okay? It doesn't give women carte blanche to do whatever they want like modern society does. The Bible is pretty strict on women. The Bible is pretty strict on, immorality in general. If you understand the Bible, it is not and I know there's a lot of churches today who preach forgiveness and preach acceptance and all this kind of stuff, and to a certain extent, yeah, that's good because we're all sinners. We all start off in an evil place, right? From a biblical perspective, hypothetically, quote unquote, we're all sinners starting off in an evil place, even those who are outwardly good, because some people are just naturally good outwardly, right, in their behavior and their conduct. And I'm probably going to be talking to these type of people a lot today, because these are the type of people who come in and say shit like, God doesn't owe you anything, right? Which is what I'm going to be talking about today. This concept, that God doesn't owe people anything, and this is the topic of today. And like I said, I apologize. I'm scatterbrained. It's a weird day for me. You're gonna have to follow along, hopefully. So again, if you're looking at the Bible from a moralistic standpoint, it's extremely moral. The Bible is extremely moral, okay? Extremely moral. Jesus says in one of the Gospels, there's 4 Gospel books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. He says in one of those Gospels, he says, if you even look at a woman so as to lust after her, you've committed adultery with her in your heart. Think about how serious that is, right? I think they used to stone people in the old days for being adulterers, if I'm not mistaken. They used to kill people for being adulterers. I might be wrong on that. That is one of the things of the Bible that I'm not fully up on, but I'm pretty sure the penalty was death for adultery at some point. You guys can Google that, maybe not, but I'm pretty sure. So that's pretty freaking serious, man. That's like a capital sin or a for real, unlawful transgression, right? I'm talking about law, unlawful. Not just morals, but laws, because at some point morals blend into laws. At some point our moral concepts blend into our law structure, right? And there are people who say morality is subjective. These people are idiots. Okay. Morality is not subjective. I mean, you can't just pick and choose how you want to be moral. There are moral laws in the fabric of our society, period. Our law system is based on morals. And many would argue, and even scholars have argued, that our law system is based on biblical morals, meaning the morals that the Bible brought out and started talking about 2,000, 4,000 years ago, whenever the Bible was written, right? Now, you could surmise, and some people could say that, well, this is just oral tradition. This is all just history, traditions. Now it's different because now, this, that, and blah, 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 blah. There's always arguments about that. But the bottom line is that we have a moral foundation laid forth in the Bible, and it's a high, strict moral foundation. So if anybody's trying to say that, oh, we're all about forgiveness and acceptance in the Christian, religion, blah, blah, blah. Okay, to a good extent, that's true when it comes to being forgiven for our sins and going to Jesus. However, sorry to say, but if you actually read the Bible, which a lot of people really don't, if you actually read the Bible, you get into a lot of moralistic guidelines. Matthew chapter 6, okay? Jesus, his Sermon on the Mount, he's talking about the morality of the kingdom people, his chosen people, his believers, the people who follow him have to be very, very moral. So anybody who's blue-pilled, anybody who is, with this modern, let's love and accept everybody, the Bible's not for you, because the Bible is polarizing to people who have, wishy-washy morals, or they make up their own morals. The Bible is not going to be your friend if you actually read it. The Bible condemns homosexuality. It condemns promiscuity, or the Bible calls it fornication. Okay, it condemns to the extent that Jesus said, if you look at a woman so as to lust after her, you are committing adultery with that woman in your heart. And what is adultery? It's grounds for divorce. How serious is that? But yet, in our modern society, everyone's like, oh, well, she's a hot woman and, he's a hot guy. I guess I get it. Woo, 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 right? Like we bend our morality. So I'm not sitting here preaching that that's right. I don't know. I'm simply saying, objectively speaking, that the morality laid forth in the Bible is extremely high. So anybody saying that the Bible is feminist or the Bible is blue-pilled, no, sorry, you're wrong. The Bible is not feminist. It's not. Some might say it's sort of blue-pilled, and I might say sort of blue-pilled insofar as it expects husbands to be the breadwinner, protector, provider for the family. It specifically says that, okay, in Paul's epistles that he wrote after the Gospels in the New Testament. Specifically, he says that a man who doesn't provide for his own even is worse than an unbeliever. That's what it says. This is the Bible. I've read it many, 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 many times. I've read it for years and years. I've been saturated with it, so I know what I'm talking about. Maybe certain things in the Old Testament are kind of, fuzzy for me, certain laws but I know a lot about the New Testament, right? And Paul, in Paul's epistles, he says this. He says, specifically, you can Google this. I forget the verse name, but this is what he says. He says, any man who doesn't provide for his family is worse than an unbeliever. Which is weird. I don't even hear the Bible talking about that unbelievers are bad. I don't know, but that's what it says. The Bible doesn't talk about unbelievers are bad anywhere else. But he says he's worse than an unbeliever. What does that mean? I don't know. I guess it means that if you don't provide financially and take care of your family like quote unquote a man is supposed to do, right? Then you're worse than somebody who doesn't even believe in God. This is Paul's words. I don't know if this is Paul's words inspired by God's heart. I don't know. Paul seemingly says some things that are contradictory to what God says at times, such as Paul says, I wish that you would not marry. In 1 Corinthians, he says that. Right? And I made a whole video about how Paul the Apostle himself was MGTOW. He totally was. He was not married. He advised other Christians not to marry. He said it would be better for you not to marry. He says that in 1 Corinthians, right? Which is a great verse. It's a great passage as far as like understanding, what we're dealing with in modern times. And he says, but if you're burning in desire, meaning if you're horny all the time and you want to have sex, you should get a wife so you can take care of that. So you're not lusting after every woman. So you're not hoping that you can have sex with some woman so you can take care of that. However, he says, you're going to suffer. This is all in 1 Corinthians. However, you're going to suffer. You are going to have some pain in this life because your focus is going to be pleasing your wife. Paul literally says these words. So Paul knew what it was. In fact, some people say Paul was married at one time because before he became converted to Christianity, he was a Jewish priest, I believe, or a Jewish Sadducee, or one of these guys, the Sadducees and the other guys, I think it starts with an H, you know what I'm talking about. If you read the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. So these Jewish guys, the guys who gave Jesus up and persecuted the early Christians, the early followers of Jesus, the Pharisees, yeah, that's it. The Sadducees and the Pharisees. I think Paul was a Pharisee, if I'm not mistaken. These guys are like religious, on their way to being Jewish priests or whatever, right? So apparently these guys had to get married. You had to have a wife in order to be a Sadducee or something like that, right? So someone noted that's Paul's history, so he had to have been married. Sometimes the Bible just leaves out details like that, right? Oftentimes, all kinds of details left out of the Bible, which is a strange thing. It makes it kind of hard to study sometimes. Bible's an interesting document. But Paul had a wife, so he knew that the focus of a married man's life, the focus is going to be to please his wife. Because what happens if he doesn't please his wife? She's going to leave him. Because this is what women do. If women are not pleased by their men, they leave the men. This is female nature. It's what they do. So you could argue and you could say that the Bible is very red-pilled when it comes to anti-feminism or anti-modern feminism, and then I might come in and argue and say, well, the Bible's somewhat blue-pilled in that it says men need to take care of their of their family, right? Because why is that blue-pilled? Because that plays into the blue pill narrative, which is that men need to please their women and the women are the prize and all this. It kind of plays into it, sort of. But then you'd have to split it down the middle and say, well, what about these other things that the Bible says about women? Women shouldn't dress pretty. They shouldn't put makeup on. The Bible says shit like this. They shouldn't use earrings and beautify themselves. Why? Why shouldn't they do that? Because you don't want to create lust in other people, right? You don't want to create lust in other people. So unfortunately, I'm not talking at all about what I initially wanted to talk about. So I'm going to have to make this a part one. And I'm scatterbrained today. It is what it is. My apologies. But I want to answer this guy's question and I'm going to get to it. Okay. I'm going to get to it. So the Bible's kind of 50-50 on blue pill, red pill, right? Now, at least insofar, I'll just say the Bible's mostly red pilled. I'll just say that. Mostly red pilled, except when it comes to husband and wife, then it's kind of blue pill, because at the end of the day, it's, alluding to the fact that you need to take care of your wife and your family, which I don't necessarily have anything wrong with that. It's just today that is essentially blue pill, because this is what women are looking for anyways. They're looking for a provider, looking for a guy, and they'll say they're not. They'll say, no, I just want it to be 50-50. I just wanted everything to be equal, blah, blah, blah. But that's not really true. They're still looking for a winner. Hypergamy still exists, sorry to say. And many women are still looking for a guy to take care of them financially. And, at the end of the day, how many women have leases? Most guys are going to have the lease. Most guys are going to have, that solidified. I don't think most women are going to have their own lease. I don't think so. I haven't met too many, women who had their own place, had their own house. I really haven't in my travels. I've met women who've rented. I've met women who, cohabited with roommates and things like that, but not too many who own their own house, or who that's mostly a man thing. So, but that can play into, the blue pill. That can play into the blue pill thing that we're talking about. So again, I think you understand where I'm going with this. The Bible's kind of red pill. It's kind of blue pill. In a way, it can be construed that way, but back when it was written, it wasn't. If you take other verses, such as wives be subject to your husbands, which is essentially saying wives need to be subservient to your husband's wishes. That's what subject means. It means you are under your husband, essentially. He's ruling. And that there's no equality. So any of these new churches who are all about feminism, and these new cool churches who are all about, these new age modern, they're distorting the Bible. Sorry to say. The Bible is not kosher with modern feminism. It's not kosher with this modern equality movement. It's just not. All right. All right, let me see if I can get back on track and try to salvage this. So what does that mean? Now this guy, okay, so with that said, this guy comes in and says God doesn't owe us anything, right? All right. Well, how am I going to answer this? I might answer this in another video, because it's already 18 minutes in, and I might just end this and upload this and then try to answer this in another video. I think I'm going to do that. So essentially, this is is the Bible, I'm just going to title this, is the Bible blue pilled or red pilled? Okay. And I would say it's a little bit of both, but mostly red pilled. Okay. That's my answer. Is the Bible blue pilled or red pilled? A little bit of both, but mostly red pilled. The reason why it's mostly red pilled is because it's very moral, which means all this modern day, questionable, shifty morality, which people just make up as they go along. Oh, I'm kind of gay. Oh, I'm kind of not. I'm kind of bisexual. I'm kind of, I like to play around before I get married. I like to mess around. I like to go have some sex and see what that's all about. And then I can know what I like. And then I can know the guy that I like, and blah, all that bullshit out the window. None of that. No homosexuality. Okay. No, playing around before marriage. So the Bible is very red-pilled in that sense. It's not modern. It's not all about the modern world, feminism and equality. It's not like that. Women are supposed to be subject to their husbands. Women are supposed to get married early on. They're not supposed to go out and fornicate. If you're a believer and your daughter's a hoe and she's out sleeping around, you failed, buddy. You failed at your duty as a father to raise a moral daughter. Now, I understand that it's hard in this world today. I understand that it's very, very difficult, because there's all kinds of evil out there, and it's saturated, and it's a click away, man. I get it, and your daughter is, she is, going to be influenced to do a lot of negative, evil, immoral stuff. Sorry to say. It's what it is. It's normalized in today's society. So it's very difficult. So I'll cut those guys some slack. But again, if you're trying to raise a Christian daughter with the same methods that regular ass non-believers raise their Christian daughters with, you're going to fail 9 times out of 10, because these people fail. They can't raise moral daughters. What are their daughters out doing? Sleeping around, making porn, having OnlyFans, getting on Pornhub. What do you think? What do you think these women are out doing on Tinder? What do you think they're doing? Like, all of them. So come on. You're not going to win that. No modern church is going to be all like, oh yeah, we're really accepting and loving. We're not like those other judgmental Christians. But like, that just means you're not a very good Christian. The beliefs that you have are not very biblical. Right? Now, this isn't to say that nowhere in the Bible does it say that God hates gays. That it's not in the Bible. Nowhere in the Bible does God say say that all gays are going to go to hell. That's not the thought. That's not the concept. Everybody goes to hell who doesn't accept Jesus as their savior. That's the concept. Whether you're gay or you're perfect, whether you've never committed any crimes or sins or anything in your whole life, or whether you've lived a horrible, murderous, killing life, it's all the same at the end of the day. The only thing that excludes people from salvation is not believing in Jesus. That's it. That's the Bible to a T. And some people have a problem with that. And I get it. Why is this multi-killer, someone like Hitler, could just accept Jesus and he'd be totally saved, whereas somebody who lived a good life their whole life, didn't hurt anybody, just because they didn't accept Jesus, they won't make it to heaven? It sounds kind of messed up, and I agree, it kind of does sound messed up. But that's just the way it is. That's the mode and the modus operandi of God's plan. That's all. That's the center of God's plan. Okay, that's at the center of the Bible is salvation through Jesus' sacrificial death. Okay, that's all. Now, all right, I'm going to get into some of this in my next video where I'm talking about, does God owe us anything? I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but I want to end this here on the blue pill, on the red pill, blue pill issue. The Bible is very red pilled when it comes to today's standards. Now, at the end of the day, Paul does say and allude to the fact that a man needs to provide for the family, and he's going to be, very distracted and very burdened with that providership, as he should be. If you have the responsibility to lead a family, and your wife actually submits to you, and she's actually in submission to you as a Christian woman, then yeah, you have a big responsibility to provide. Now, that's kind of blue-pilled in a way, right? I think it's more red-pilled to be equal. I think it's more red-pilled to say, hey, you need to take care of your own things. I'm not going to pay for all your shit. You need to take care of, and you need to pay half rent. That's a little more red-pilled in a way than saying I'm going to provide for everything. But the thing is women are very subtle. And no woman is going to marry a broke dude. I don't care how much money she makes. No woman is going to marry a man who can't provide for her and her family, even if she makes more money than him, or I should say, even if she makes a lot of money, she's still gonna go after a guy who makes a lot of money, unless she has some kind of power trip. I've seen that a little bit, where women have these power trips where, like, they'll do like a polyamorous relationship because they make money and they're like, I make money, I don't need a man for money, so therefore I'm just gonna have these boy toys around. But that's not marriage. That's something completely different. Anyway, so at the end of the day, the Bible is more red pill as far as modern society is concerned. But as far as, playing into hypergamy, the Bible does play into hypergamy. Everything does. If you're married, you're going to have to play into hypergamy, because that's female nature. Female nature won't accept a bum unless there's just something about him. I've seen it, but it's rare. And usually it's because the guy is such a he has such a strong ego, or he has such a strong personality that she'll forgive, his major infractions, or I should say, she will forgive a lot of major infractions, but she will also forgive him being a bum and not work and not have a good job and not make a lot of money. She'll forgive all that if he has a strong personality. I've seen that. I've seen it, but it's still rare, because most women, even if the guy, they'll sleep with the guy, but they're not going to marry him. They're not going to settle down with a bummy guy. It's not going to happen 9 times out of 10, but I've seen it. And in that case, usually it's because the guy has a very strong personality. There's something about him that is very charismatic, and he's kind of like a Jim Jones type of guy. If you know who Jim Jones is, study the just Google it. Jim Jones, right? He's a cult leader, right? If you have this cult type of personality, and you have this, women will be attracted to that, and they will forgive a lot in that scenario. If that guy has a great personality, if he's got, I shouldn't say a great personality, I should say a influencing personality. If he's got a strong personality, strong, vocal, the ability to sort of lure people into lead, kind of like a leader, like a Jim Jones, man, like they will forgive a lot, but 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. So they're going to hypergamy is still hypergamy in the Bible or outside the Bible. It is what it is. So I would say mostly the Bible is red pilled with a little bit of blue pill hidden in there, because that's just what it is. Because when you get into a relationship, when you get into a marriage, you have to be sort of blue pill. And what is blue pill? It's, I gotta make sure this woman's happy. I gotta, bend down to her needs and all this kind of stuff. And this is what the Bible even says. It says men are going to try to make their wives happy. That's what Paul says in 1 Corinthians. He says, you're going to suffer because you're going to be trying to make your wife happy. How many people find a good wife who's amiable, who's helpful, who's kind, who doesn't cause any problems, doesn't start drama? How many people find that? Very few, if any at all, ever, right? So that's probably not going to happen, right? I mean, how many people are like, oh, my wife is amazing. She's not judgmental. She's not, we never argue. I don't have to please her. I just be myself. I'm not like, our whole structure, everything we do, all the clothes I got to buy, all the car that I want, everything is subconsciously run by our sex drive. Everything is like, okay, I gotta be advanced. I mean, read Freud, I gotta have a nice house. I gotta be advanced, etc. All of that is to get a woman. Right? How many people are just like, I didn't do any, this true love dream, right? How many people are like, well, I didn't do anything. She just loved me for who I am. I just met her and it was all roses and peaches the whole time. Like, what? Like, that's, what are we all going to school for? What are we all going to, getting jobs for? Is it so we can have a better life? Yes, but it's also so we can have a woman. So this is sex drive. Read Freud. It's so that we can get laid. It's so that we can quote unquote find love. But that love wouldn't exist if you didn't have the money. The love wouldn't exist if you didn't have have the sex, right? And Paul knew this. He said, you're going to be pleasing your wife. You're going to be spending a lot of energy and time trying to make your wife happy, and you will suffer because of it. And you will be distracted, and you won't be able to pursue God fully. Paul the Apostle in the New Testament says this. It's in 1 Corinthians. Okay. So Paul knew about hypergamy. Paul knew female nature. It's right there. It's rational. It's intelligent. It's agreeable. For red pill minded guys, we know what that is. Yes, you're going to have to please this woman. Everything we do is having to please women. Why? Because they don't like us for who we are. They like us for our success. They like us for our status. They like us for our resources. They like us for what we can bring to them, the lifestyle that we can give them. They don't like us for being just bummy whoever, doing nothing. So how could you say that's real love? How could you say that that's, you know what I'm saying? So it plays into it. It plays into all of that. The blue pill shit. You guys get what I'm saying? All right, so I'm going to end it there. And the next video that I'm going to upload right after this, I'm going to answer this guy's